Welcome to Sound and Fury. I am Eric Wilfred Watson, podcaster, YouTube personality, gentleman, most importantly, author, and quite humble.
And I'm Hugh Frank, and I'm just better looking.
Today we're going to talk about sequels. We had a video recently where you went over movies that you really hope they don't make a sequel to.
Yes.
Today we're going to talk about movies that have sequels, but probably shouldn't have had sequels.
Yes.
Now, I have to admit, this is tough because there's so many bad sequels. I mean, if you just do a Google search for sequels that shouldn't have been made, there's too many.
27 million.
Almost every sequel is worse than the original, with rare exception.
Yes.
You got some movies that do an improvement in the sequel or live up to it.
Terminator 2, Godfather 2, Empire Strikes Back. That's about it.
The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Batman Begins is better. It isn't as good as Dark Knight. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's hard to recapture that lightning in a bottle. And there's some attempts that just went badly. Now, these are in no particular order.
Things that should not be.
But unfortunately are.
Shall we begin?
And these are in no particular order, but actually Terminator's the first one on my list.
What?
And the sequels past Terminator 2.
Oh.
Terminator 3, Terminator Salvation, Terminator Genesis, and Terminator Dark Fate all should not have been made. Now,
All right.
in fairness, they could have been okay launches to trilogies. It's funny, each one of those sequels was intended to be the first movie of a new trilogy that never happened. So for Terminator 3, the movie ends with the nuclear war actually happening. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to get the sequels where, they have the War of the Machines and send them all back and whatnot. But unfortunately, or fortunately, depending upon your point of view, Arnold Schwarzenegger decided he wanted to be in politics rather than movies.
Yes.
So they couldn't use Schwarzenegger for more Terminator movies, so that ended that idea.
That's why it's...
So then they started over with Terminator Salvation. They tried to do a Schwarzenegger-less Terminator movie about the war against the machines, but it turned out to be a pile of garbage with a few highlights. I mean, Anton Yelton was in the movie. He was pretty good.
was he the one that was standing in Christian Bale's light?
I don't think so.
Shut the f*** up, Bruce. Do I want... No! No! Don't shut me up. Am I gonna walk around and rip your f***ing lights down in the middle of a scene? Then why the f*** are you walking right through? Da-da-da-da, like this in the background. What the f*** is it with you?
And they had this weird thing where the prisoner ended up being a cyborg and this weird side plot.
Yeah.
You did get a CGI Arnold at one point, but it just didn't work.
Yeah. And the CGI Arnold wasn't that bad.
But it really ignores Terminator 1, 2, and 3. It just, here's the war against the machines, only it doesn't look anything like the dystopian future you're promised in all the other movies. It just doesn't gel correctly.
Terminator 1 created Terminator 2, which ended Terminator 1. Like,
Terminator 1 and 2 are a perfect pair of movies.
Yeah.
Every sequel fails to live up to the perfectness of the first two.
Yeah.
Terminator Genesis tries to reboot the franchise where they go back in time and have a badass Sarah Connor who already knows the Terminator's coming, and they change the original Terminator movie. They tried to do this whole secret thing where Arnold was reprogrammed, but he won't say who. But no, let's scrap that and make Terminator Dark Fate, which ended up being like a reboot of Terminator 3. They pretended all the other sequels didn't happen, but unfortunately that movie starts with them killing John Connor, and they get a weird alternate version of the war with the machines and weird alternate Terminators, and it just is not good. All of them try really, really hard at making a good relaunch of the franchise, and every single one of them fails spectacularly.
Yeah.
And they all should have done my idea for Terminator 3, and none of them did.
What's that?
In Terminator 2, there's a sequence where Sarah Connor shoots up Miles Dyson's house
Yeah.
to try to prevent him from creating the Terminators.
Yeah.
When he explains that they found this crushed robotics in their plant, he says, it's technology we would have never... And then he stopped himself. He was going to say things he would have never thought of or never developed. Mm-hmm. But if they wouldn't have, somebody originally did. So what I'm thinking is, when they stop him from developing the Terminator from the leftover parts from Terminator 1, then whoever would have developed the Terminator and Terminator 1 ended up developing it as originally planned. Then the war still happens. And then you can have a third movie that deals with that situation. But they never did that.
Oh, yeah.
It was a dangling piece of plot. That
it was a dangling participle.
You could just pick that plot point and run with it. They just never did.
Yeah, no, that's... Bummer, dude. Yeah.
Sequels. And again, movies that are perfect. Indiana Jones 4 and 5 ruin Indiana Jones 1, 2, and 3.
They made a 4 and 5?
Yeah, unfortunately. Well, they have movies starring Harrison Ford that are called Indiana Jones.
Oh, okay.
Indiana Jones 3, The Last Crusade, ends with drinking from the Holy Grail, where they obtain immortality.
Yep.
Then, in Indiana Jones 4, his dad died, and he's old. So much for the immortality of the Holy Grail.
Yeah. Grail?
Not to mention the rest of the movie sucked.
Yeah.
And from all accounts, Indiana Jones 5 stars a bitter old Harrison Ford who's not Indiana Jones anymore. He's like the grumpy old man living past glory days.
All joking aside, it's I mean, it hasn't been released yet, right?
I don't think so.
They shot like 6 different endings. And all joking aside about these movies not existing, it's possible they don't release this movie. It is still possible because they're just expecting it to be a bomb, and they might just not. Because there's a trend now.
I saw a trailer for it before the Flash movie yesterday, so I think it's going to happen. It's already done. They just dump it on Disney Plus and hope for the best.
Was it Batman? No, it was a Supergirl movie?
Yes, they scrapped the Supergirl movie, but in fairness, that wasn't a theatrical release. They're just going to go straight to streaming, but it was so bad they decided not to release it at all. Yep. They figured it was better for the brand for it just to not happen.
Yep.
Which, God, I hope it leaks on the internet someday. I want to see it so bad.
Yeah, and Disney pulled Willow off of Disney Plus because it was so bad. They figured they'd make more money as a tax write-off, as a loss. So they filmed that entire series, which was okay, and then now it's gone. So there is kind of a not, I wouldn't say a trend, but there are precedents involved.
That's why you gotta buy physical media. Us old farts, I still buy Blu-rays. They can't come into my house and take my copy of The French Connection away. You know.
French Connection. That was a...
Disney recently edited out a chunk of The French Connection.
Why?
Because there were some words that were said that weren't PC from a movie in the 1970s.
Oh, gotcha.
So,
gotcha.
You know, our sensitive ears can't hear people speaking bad language, you know,
gotcha.
45, 50, whatever years later.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, next movie that should not exist, but unfortunately does, is a sequel to a movie that I really like, although a lot of people think it's a crappy movie, but I like the original a lot. Basic Instinct.
Oh.
Basic Instinct 2 has a sequel that is just awful. The original movie is supposed to be sexy. It has Sharon Stone with the famous legs uncrossing sequence, and there's a Loaded Weapon 1.
Yeah,
there's gratuitous sex and whatnot, but that's not why I like the movie. It doesn't hurt, but it's not why I like the movie. It's sort of an Alfred Hitchcock Vertigo ripoff in a good way. It's
high anxiety.
It's directed by Paul Verhoeven, who did Starship Troopers and RoboCop. He made the movie kind of sarcastically. If you watch it through that lens, it's really good. The second movie takes itself seriously, and it isn't. And she's if she was sexy in the original movie, she was desperate and weird in the second one.
Gotcha.
Just didn't come off well at all. And not to mention the plot was just atrocious. It was badly acted, badly directed. Just everything about the movie was just a stinker. It's just a movie that wouldn't have existed if the first movie didn't. If you just presented the script of Basic Instinct 2 to the studio, nobody would have made the thing. But because it had those characters in it, they go, okay, we'll make it. We like things that people already know about. Yeah. But it was terrible.
The worst part about it is when Sharon Stone brought Luke Skywalker his old lightsaber and he just flung it over his shoulder.
Yeah, that was pretty bad too. The next one, again, this is another movie that's a sequel to a sequel. RoboCop 3.
So RoboCop 2 was okay?
I like RoboCop 2 a lot. Okay. It's different than RoboCop 1, but at least it maintained the darker tone. It still was satirical. I mean, in RoboCop 2, they have this sequence, so they're rolling out RoboCop 2, the new RoboCops, but they're all malfunctioning horribly. It's still got the dark tone of the original.
Did it have Ed 209?
I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
But the third one came into existence after the RoboCop animated Saturday morning cartoon.
Oh, I remember that. I haven't thought about that in 30 years.
Which is that's a bizarre thing in and of itself. You take these hard R bloodfest movies and turn them into a kids show.
Yeah.
So, but when the live action movie comes,
That was the 80s. Like I said before, they killed Optimus Prime right in front of our eyes. Our sad little prepubescent eyes.
I remember crying when Optimus Prime died.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I still get chills. Matter of fact, I rewatched that scene on YouTube and it still brought me back to being young.
But no, after the cartoon, they couldn't just make a hard R blood and guts fest again, although they should have. Instead, you get RoboCop with a rocket pack, and a different actor plays him, and it's cartoony and silly and comedic, and all the satirical gore of the first two, it's just gone.
Kind of like the first James Bond movie, right? The very first Casino Royale.
Oh, you're talking with the Woody Allen one?
Yeah.
Peter Sellers or
Yeah, whatever it was. Like the very first time James Bond was on film, it was a kind of a parody of James Bond. Like they didn't take it seriously.
I'm not sure of the timeline of that. I think Dr. No had already come out when Casino Royale did, but yeah.
Okay.
And there was a made-for-TV. There was actually a James Bond, like a black and white one before that. But
Okay.
Would you get me some chips?
Why, certainly, Mr. Bond.
Well,
But yeah, I get
I
get your point.
And then when they remade Casino Royale,
It wasn't a remake. They adapted the book. They didn't pay any attention to the Woody Allen movie. The Woody Allen movie is a parody of James Bond,
yeah.
using an actual James Bond movie. Anyway, the next movie that shouldn't exist but does is coming to number 2, America.
I just watched that the other day.
I hate it. It should have been called Coming to Africa.
Yeah, everybody went to Africa.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's the opposite of Coming to America. They come to Africa. The majority of the movie takes place in Zamunda. It occurred to me that there's a few Black Panther parallels.
Yes,
It's this-
I think that. Well, of course, the original Coming to America came first, but the opening sequence of Black Panther, I'm like, wait a minute, this is Coming to America. Yes.
Fantastical African countries that don't actually exist involving a kingdom. Most African countries aren't monarchies, but Zamunda is, Wakanda is.
Right. Huh.
But it's got some good stuff. I mean, the Wesley Snipes character, General of Nextoria.
Nextoria. That was awesome.
That's fun, but
It's kind of a parody of itself.
But it doesn't need to exist. It doesn't add anything. The jokes are usually retreads of the original. It's nice to see Eddie Murphy doing R-rated comedies again after doing a bunch of kids movies and stuff. It's nice to see him. It's nice to see him doing hard R stuff, but it just doesn't need to exist. The first movie's perfect. The second movie doesn't add anything to it.
Yeah, all right. From that lens, that makes sense. It's kind of fun, but yeah.
Independence Day 2.
Oh my God.
Independence Day Resurgence.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
You saw that one?
I did. And you know what? I'd jump at a chance to watch Jeff Goldblum in a movie. Sorry, it was awful. It was awful.
I will say one good thing about the movie. Two good things about the movie. I watched it on an airplane. They had the built-in, I don't remember what airline has the built-in TVs to the seat in front of you.
Okay.
But I decided what the hell, I'll watch it. It was either that or a bunch of other crap. But there was heavy turbulence on the flight. So during the dogfight sequences with the spaceships and stuff, the airplane's bouncing around. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Were you trying to put on your makeup?
Yeah. It's also like when I saw the
There
movie...
is only one purpose. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. I also saw Tremors on a cruise ship in the late 80s, early 90s. And I'm that old. And the movie theater in the boat, I could feel the ground shaking underneath me from the boat as I'm watching Tremors. That was pretty cool, too.
Yeah, I watched one of the Pirates of the Caribbean movie on the SS Badger.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was kind of...
Well, since we're talking about everything except why this movie's bad, let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, it's just awful. Just trust us.
It just doesn't need to exist.
Yeah.
Now, this one I've kind of changed my mind on. I liked the movie when I saw it, but it isn't sitting well with me, and that's Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, watch our review on that one. I didn't even see it, and I knew it was bad.
I think it's the best movie on my list of movies that shouldn't happen, but really there's no reason for it to be there.
No.
It's a gorgeously shot spectacle. I mean, it looks good on the screen. If you just mute the movie and just watch the
Especially
airplanes,
the opening
it's good.
sequence where the main character dies.
Yes, as Neil deGrasse Tyson pointed out, that you would basically be liquefied or
No.
deatomized or...
Right. I mean, Mach 10. It's you're flying so fast that the titanium airplane that you're in breaks up. What's that going to do to your body?
But if you're Tom Cruise, yeah.
Well, he's made mostly out of plastic nowadays, anyway. Yeah.
But the reason I put that down is it's a shot-for-shot, almost a shot-for-shot remake of the original. Even the opening credit sequence looks the same.
Plus, they have a Star Wars trench scene.
Yeah, they rip off stuff.
Turns off his targeting computer.
Just to hit the little target. Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
I'm glad you've come around to my way of thinking about that movie.
I was blown away by the spectacle of the movie, and I'll stand by that it's a gorgeously done film. Cinematically, cinematography-wise, it looks good. It sounds good. The editing is great. It's a well put together pile of garbage.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you took Tom Cruise out of it and took out the opening sequence where he dies, actually, you know what? That would be how we could remake that movie. If he dies in the opening sequence and then the rest of the movie goes on without him, you could have a great Top Gun Maverick movie, and it's all about what people have done in honor of this terrible person that got court-martialed 27 times because of all the rules he kept breaking over and over again.
The next sequel that exists that shouldn't exist, Jaws: The Revenge.
Because sharks seek revenge.
Well, so this woman's tired of the shark always eating her family, so she moves to the Bahamas, but the shark knows that somehow, swims 1,100 miles to the Bahamas so he can continue tormenting the family, although most of the movie doesn't have anything to do with a shark. It's got Michael Caine in it, and there's a romance stuff and plot and boring stuff that has nothing to do with sharks, and then the shark dies at the end. But it was too graphic, so they redid the edit and made somebody that died in the movie live again, because it was... You can't have too much horror in your horror movie sequel. Putting the revenge at the end of a title became a joke for a while.
Oh well, I mean that was Wrath of Khan. Return of the Jedi was Revenge of the Jedi. You had, which originally Wrath of Khan was Vengeance of Khan, right?
Yeah, they changed it to
Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah, they changed. Well, I don't remember which changed because of which, but Revenge of the Jedi.
It was Revenge of the Jedi.
Yeah.
They changed it to
And then it was the Vengeance of Khan. I don't remember which one changed because of which one. But
well, they both changed because of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, they both heard about their titles and they both changed just in case. So, yeah.
But yeah, I saw Jaws: The Revenge in the theater because my mom made the mistake of renting Jaws on VHS for me when I was a kid. She thought it would be good for her young boy to see a scary movie, and she was correct. Unfortunately, young me was drawing pictures with crayon of sharks eating people, and Mom had to deal with these pictures of
Sharks with freaking laser beams attached to their heads.
My poor mom had to deal with these graphic depictions of sharks disemboweling people with the magnet on the fridge.
Your mom
when I was
was a
like
very
when I was
patient
like
woman.
when I was like 10 years old or what have you. I thought it was great. I was obsessed with sharks, which is good. I mean, I legitimately learned about sharks because it was an interest of mine.
Yeah.
Then Jaws: The Revenge came out, and I remember sitting in the theater going, I thought this was a fucking Jaws movie.
But sharks don't do that.
Well, there's almost no sharks in the movie. I mean, Jaws 3
Going
was...
back to Jeff Golden. Are there eventually going to be sharks in your shark movie?
Shark still looks fake.
Jaws 3 was total schlock, but at least a bunch of people got eaten by sharks. If you're going to make a shitty Jaws sequel, at least have sharks eat a bunch of people. I think like 2 people died in the whole movie.
I was debating whether or not I was going to go see Jurassic Park 3, and I read a review about it.
Jurassic World 3? Or Jurassic Park 3?
No, I still haven't seen Jurassic World 3. But Jurassic Park 3, so way back when that came out, and somebody did a review and they said, I'm just going to a movie to watch dinosaurs eat people. I don't really care what it's about otherwise. Like, oh, okay, that's a good... You know what? I want to go watch dinosaurs eat people too, so I went to see that one. But yeah, if you don't have sharks eating people in your shark eating people movie...
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, it's kind of a... Yeah. But was there revenge?
I don't know.
Was it served cold?
2, Cruise Control. Again, it's a title that's been made fun of. A bunch of our other videos, you've joked with the movie. Even in this, you added Cruise Control.
Oh, I took a drink at the wrong time.
But it undoes the end of the first movie. In the first movie, Keanu Reeves and, was it Sandra Bullock?
Sandra Bullock, yeah.
They get together at the end of the movie. And then in Speed 2, they aren't a couple because Keanu Reeves wouldn't come back because he knew better. And
Right.
they have the line like, oh, romance is built on extreme situations never work, which is a line they used in the first movie.
Yeah.
But, and not to mention, they ended the romance that you built up in the first movie, but the rest of the movie happened too, and that wasn't good either.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
It was Die Hard it was Die Hard on a boat, only it sucked.
Yeah. And the Die Hard movies, as good as, because we did a show on that one, right? And the first one was great. And then they started kind of going downhill.
And the first one was good, the second one was okay, the third one was actually fantastic, and the last two are just
yeah, well, the third one kind of made sense because the plot was such that they were using John McClane because of his history. Mm-hmm. But, like, when the same really unique scenario ends up having the same person over and over again, mm-hmm. then, it stops being a unique scenario.
He became a superhero in the sequels. He jumps off of a falling airplane,
yeah.
does a Flintstone
with a
he throws a car at a helicopter.
Yeah, okay.
It's just total nonsense.
Yeah, but it's the same thing over and over again. So the same thing happening to Sandra Bullock again.
It's like the Taken sequels. I didn't have those on my list, but
yeah, and I don't know if I saw all those. But the second one, I think the guy was after his daughter for revenge for killing his brother or something like that. It was basically the same kind of thing, mm-hmm. right? So the same thing happened again because of the first one. So it kind of makes sense.
And the last one on my list, this isn't as funny as the others maybe, but it just doesn't need to exist, and most people forgot it does exist, and that's U.S. Marshals, which is the sequel to The Fugitive.
I forgot about that. Does that have Wesley Snipes?
Yeah.
Okay. And they're after him for tax evasion? Sorry, too soon?
You forgot about it, and that's basically the whole problem. It's not really worth making fun of. It's just a boring, forgettable, dated action movie that didn't need to exist, and for all practical purposes doesn't exist. I mean, who in the world even talks about the movie other than us right now? Please subscribe. Hey.
Yay!
But there's more. I mean, you could go online and just have a field day with sequels that shouldn't exist. I had to stop at this, otherwise we'd be here forever.
Oh,
but,
God. Yeah.
The studios love a name that you know, and even if it's just direct to DVD or nowadays direct to streaming garbage, who cares? Just slap the name of the property on it and go.
Yeah. You got what? Caddyshack 2. You got Cannonball Run 2. You got there's so many of them. Yeah. So many. But you got a good list there. Mm-hmm. I forgot all about Jaws: The Revenge and.
Anyway, that's all we got. Until next time, we're going to talk about other things. So I can tell you that this book doesn't have a sequel, although there are other books in the same universe coming soon. Please buy it, because every time you buy it, money goes to a cause very special to me.
More scotch.
My bank account.
Go ahead. Make my day.